All right, y'all. So in this next video, I would like to dive in and explore the conspiracy theories surrounding anti-gravity UFOs. Now, I know there's been a lot of discussions and debates going around that whole topic. Also, whether or not we have some in our possession. You know what I mean? So we're going to dive into it, man. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button, join the family, and remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
So the U.S. government hides an anti-gravity fleet with extraterrestrial technology, claims scientists. So Dr. Richard Boylan has been interviewing multiple individuals who have been whistleblowers who have stated that this kind of technology is U.S. government military technology. He also states that we have quantum capabilities, meaning that using quantum entanglement, we can transport one craft to another area of the planet simply using the spooky action at a distance, according to Albert Einstein. Do you think that we have better than anti-gravitational craft up to quantum craft, or do you think that we're still on the anti-gravity electromagnetic craft? What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Listen to more stories at Lockdown Universe.
I tell you what makes me suspicious about this photo right here. It's not even the anti-gravity, quote unquote, you know what I mean, UFO there or something that maybe we created. It's those darn Winnebagos right there, whatever you want to call them, sitting right there. Those got me more suspicious than anything. You know what I mean? They really on they Heisenberg out there in the desert. That's what really got me. But in all seriousness, if they're saying we have some of these UFOs in our possession and stuff like that, then I bet, I'm willing to bet a lot of money that we have those capabilities now, especially if we're reverse engineering. Then what have we been doing? Because at this point, you can't tell me. You would have to show me and prove to me that we don't have a UFO UAP in our possession. Bob Lazar has said it. He's repeatedly said it. And he said, you know what I mean? And he comes off as very credible. So all this time, and he said that a long time ago. So imagine a window of time we've had to dissect this thing, look at it. Now, some of the components that the vehicle had that maybe make it anti-gravity we may not have. And maybe that's why we've been going to space and trying to get certain things that maybe these vehicles have when you think about it. So I think we do. If I had to answer his question, I think we do. Moving on.
What if there are no aliens? What if all these UFOs and UAPs we've been seeing for centuries are just man-made? The only thing we know about these UFOs or UAPs is that they seem to be able to defy physics as we know it. We don't, in fact, know that they come from outer space. We have reports of them dashing into space, but we also have more reports of them coming in and out of the ocean. We don't, in fact, know if they're from space or not. So the defining characteristic seems to be that these ships can defy known physics and reach speeds we thought were unimaginable. So a lot of people think that that means that this is some form of anti-gravity technology. Now the weird thing is, back in 1956 from an American magazine called Young Men's Magazine, they published an article titled "The G Engines Are Coming." And in this article, it pictured an aircraft that had no visible means of propulsion. It had a cockpit. It had no wings, no landing gear, and it was just hovering there. And what it basically said was, even though we just reached the jet era and the nuclear era, both technologies will be obsolete when the G engines come.
So when he says, what if they're not from outer space, right? You know, some people have this theory where they believe aliens come from the other side of the ice wall. You know what I mean? So when they hear stuff like they're from here, they may not be from outer space. That you just see videos of them going into space and coming back, or you see them coming out of the ocean and stuff like that. That's gonna lend itself to those theories of people who say that they come from on the other side of the ice wall, and we need to see what's on the other side of the ice wall possibly. It's also gonna lend itself to theories of people who saying that inside the ocean, man, they're aliens in the ocean, and I'm just not talking about the sea creatures that look different than anything we've ever seen before. No, they're saying they're living in the ocean, or that the ocean is a gateway to somewhere else. Some people believe you can get to outer space through the ocean. It's a ton of different conspiracy theories that lend itself to believe whatever you would like to cling towards when you talk about aliens and different things like that. You know what I mean? Especially with the whole anti-gravity thing, them being able to, if you listen to those pilots when they talked and stood before Congress, what did they say? They were able to maneuver, do J-hooks, different things they were able to do that our aircraft could never do, and then could just drop and go into the ocean at the drop of a dime. I don't know if they said that in that one, that part in there. That might have been somewhere else. But the different things that they were able to do, you know what I mean? That's what we're basing all of this anti-gravity stuff on. Not just them, others have said it in the past as well. So blending all of this stuff together, what do y'all think? Is it possible? Are they on the other side of the quote unquote ice wall if there's one? I'm not one who subscribes to that theory, but I know a lot of people do. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Let's keep going.
Even the anti-gravity lifter systems, field propulsion, those were mastered in October 1954, which also, newsflash, here's another talking point to look for at the National Press Club, when they showed the Tic Tac. And I've spoken to David Fravor, who is the F-18 Hornet pilot for the Navy, chasing that object there off the coast of San Diego. You know, everyone's been told, gee, is it from China? Is it this? Is it that? That was one of ours. And what's interesting, we have the information from the gentleman who was in 1991 at in a classified operation during the first Gulf War, and being offloaded at the Azores Islands from a C-130 transport was the Tic Tac. And that was whatever, you know, we're talking, what, 30 years, 20 years, 23 years before, you know, the F-18 Hornet that David Fravor flew chased it. And then you go back to a case in Pennsylvania where multiple witnesses saw exactly the same thing, the Tic Tac, floating over the countryside, for which we have the reporting and a very good professional drawing of that object. So I think part of this also is unveiling the risk of these false flag operations, where things that look alien can be deployed to deceive the public, to deceive our own pilots and military, like these Navy pilots, and deceive the Congress and the media. So I think it's very important that all of this come out, but that these dots get connected so that people understand why this is important. Because in the secrecy, and let's call it the enforced secrecy that results in the ignorance on this subject, the Congress, the president, the media, the American public could be tricked into.
How that make you feel? How that make y'all feel? Don't that make you mad? That don't upset you? That don't make your blood boil to hear something like that? In the beginning, he said, nah, that's just one of ours. What do you mean? That's just one of ours. And why not come out and tell us that? Why have us spazzing out of control, losing our minds, being worried, not knowing what's going on, when you simply have the answers? That's the issue. Are y'all testing these things out? What's happening here? And he touched on it again towards the end, talking about our ignorance. Why do we have this ignorance? It's not based upon us. We're not ignorant because of that. It's because of the lack of information we get. So we have to, all we have is these theories to go off of. What are we supposed to do? All we have is, we got to have a starting point to get to an end point. The end point is us figuring out what all this stuff is. So we got to take what little information we have, especially when it's being withheld from us, and we got to start there. And we got to build upon that. So in order for us to, quote unquote, like he said, connect the dots, we first got to have a starting dot, don't we? And unfortunately for us, all we have is these conspiracies. So that's our starting dot. to be able to connect the dots to figure out what is going on. Like, yeah, that kind of, I ain't gonna lie, man. That right there kind of made me a little bit mad. Just to, not at him, but just to hear, you know what I mean? That was 1 of ours or anything like that, or, you know what I mean? Just being withheld information and having us look foolish running around with this trying to figure these things out while y'all could potentially have the answers. Let's keep going though.
Into a false flag event, thinking that it was of extraterrestrial origin when it's actually of human origin, designed for its psychological warfare value. So that's another whole part of disclosure that has to happen.
Yeah. To say that these joints is man-made, it pretty much imply they're man-made. Yeah. That gets me heated, bro. I can't even lie to you, man. That oh my gosh, bro. Cause that could very well not be true, but it's the thought of it possibly being true. It's like the greatest deceit in history. Like, what do y'all gain from doing that to us? Does it outweigh all the bad that's gonna come from it? Cause the trust ain't there no more. That trust has been gone, been broken.
So they had anti-gravity crafts in the early 1900s. This video's for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, this happened in 1958. Just look at the craft and how it's hovering. Look at the shape, size. Just get real creative with y'all minds here. Look at this goddamn craft and how it's hovering.
I told y'all, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt some of this stuff that we could be seeing as man-made. That ain't the part that makes me mad.
Once again, 1958. So you know how like over time things like elevate? You know how things get better? Technology advances, updates, downloads, uploads. I'm just wondering if that was the 1950s, what do it look like now? And for those conspiracy theorists out there, just know that you're wrong. A specific group of people couldn't possibly be planning a fake alien invasion. You're totally wrong. You're like, boobing. That's just conspiracy. Those who get it, get it. You know what y'all think about?
It still don't kind of make your blood boil a little bit? Still don't make you a little mad? Huh? To know that there's possibility of a planned alien attack. Who's behind it? A lot of people like to throw out the name Project Blue Beam. I don't know. Trust me, if I had the answers, you'd have the answers. But a planned alien attack, dissect that. Why would we plan, orchestrate, put together an alien invasion? Control? We may get to the point to where we don't trust the government and government entities and stuff like that. So what's a good way to get us back on their side? Something like that. Plan it out. You set yourself up to be the hero. You know? Save the day. That'll get them back on my side. They show up. We defend it. We win. Send them packing. Make it look like we're the superior. Gotta get them back on the side. But let's say that does happen hypothetically. All of this is hypothetical, by the way. Hypothetical. Let's say that does happen. What happens if a real, actual alien invasion happens then? And we look at the ones who saved us before to come on. Don't worry, y'all. They got us. This false sense of hope, bro. They got us. And then we don't see help. We don't see nothing. That's just wrong, man. That's just wrong, bro. Make it stop. That's why these secrets gotta be exposed, man. Especially if if there's people that know about this type of stuff going on. Unfortunately, it's gonna take them becoming disgruntled, something happening to them bad in the workspace, or them being wrong themselves, for them to become a whistleblower. We need to start campaigning for more whistleblowers to come forward. We need to start creating a safer environment for more whistleblowers to come forward and speak about the things that they know, that top secret information that they know they have, they've witnessed, they've physically touched and seen with their own eyes. We need more of that. But we can't even protect them and keep them safe. We can't. David Grush, see what they did to him? How they slandered him? Different things. And this is still an ongoing, drawn-out process. But let's keep going.
The TR-3B is a purported secret black triangle plane that has been the subject of much speculation and controversy. It is said to be a highly advanced and classified aircraft with extraordinary technology and performance capabilities, allegedly part of the United States' top secret black budget programs. Its origins are unclear, with theories ranging from reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology to advanced military research and development. The TR-3B is alleged to have a revolutionary anti-gravity propulsion system, advanced stealth capabilities, and unique lights that emit colorful plasma-like glows. Despite numerous accounts and alleged sightings, there is no concrete evidence of its existence, and the United States government has not officially confirmed. The TR-3B is a purported secret black triangle plane that has been the subject of much speculation and
Now, you know me, I'm always of the belief if we're just now seeing it, then they're well past this technology that they have. They've surpassed this. They got something far more greater. But just to see that, doesn't that make y'all think, okay, well, then they do have some type of alien technology that they possibly got. Where else did they get this information from on how to design something anti-gravity? They had to see it from somewhere, right? They had to get this technology, this information, learn how to do that from somewhere, right? Or somebody just thought of it, tested it, and it worked. That could happen, but it's probably more so like a, 1% chance that's the case? Right? Wouldn't it make more sense? Easier? You know what I mean? One thing that can prove that to us would be to know how long have we had this technology, this anti-gravity technology. Then we could connect the dots. See if that started happening or we started figuring out after reports of a crash, alien UFO or UAP crash somewhere, but the crash sites and the debris and everything was never discovered. The remains and different stuff was never discovered. That to me tells me, okay, let's look at the timeline, figure out how long it would take to study something like that, then to turn around and develop the technology and see if we can kind of get a ballpark figure of a gauge if that was possible. We need timelines. We need more information. But if I had to guess, or like I said before, if I was a gambling man, I can't say if because I am. I like to go to Vegas or not Vegas. I ain't never been to Vegas, but you know, I like to go to different casinos. You know, I've been to the Hard Rock a couple times. So as a gambling man, I hear anti-gravity and the government and we have this, I think, okay, we had to reverse engineer something to get that technology. Let's keep going.
Does our government have downed UFOs from unknown origin that they've been trying and are trying to reverse engineer and exploit those technologies to understand the physics, to understand that technology? Do we have that to work with?
I can't talk about that, but the answer is yes.
Okay.
Oh, I totally thought he was about to give us this whole spiel of why he can't talk about it. You know what I mean? And the different reasons. But it's like, I can't talk about that, but yes. Hold on, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
And the physics that understand that technology. Do we have that to work with?
I can't talk about that, but the answer is yes.
Okay, so Jeremy Corbell asked him straight up, and this guy worked for an aerospace company, and he knows all about it. So he didn't tell him the specifics, but he said, do we have it? Do we have this reverse technology? Are we working on this? And do we have it? Alien technology. And he said yes. He said yes. There you go again. We're getting people answering questions. They won't give us the specifics on who they are, what they want, what type of NHI we're dealing with. But they're telling us, yes, we have it. Yes, we're working on it. And even in one report, I heard that they're trying to fly it. And with all this craziness, you know, something's got to happen. Something's got to give. They've got to give us some visuals. They got to let us know something. They got to come forward and show us something specific. I know the Mexican government just showed us the two little cake aliens that we saw.
The cake aliens. Listen, bro. Jeremy Corbell, right? That's another one I wanna dive into. We're gonna do a video with some of the things he's talked about as well. I just gotta remember to remind myself and write it down. You know what I mean? Because I'll be like, oh, I want to check this out. And then I get done recording and I go do a ton of other things. And then the next day I get ready to record and I'm going through and I totally forget. I'll be having 1,000 other things. But I've checked out some news videos from him. And he was there, if I'm not mistaken, Jeremy Corbell was there for the David Grush and the UFO hearings there in front of Congress, right? He was there. So a guy who's pretty much dedicated his life. And I like that he's pretty much a straight shooter. You know, to me, he doesn't come off as a person who, you know what I mean, is playing around with this. He takes this very seriously. So when he asked him that straight up question of, do we have it? And guy was like, yes. Like, yes. We have this we have this technology, we have it, and we've been testing it and studying it. So now that gives even more. That's more, I don't know what you want to put, say, what's the analogy you want? That's more ammunition for me to fire off that this stuff that we're seeing in the sky might not just be UFOs, UAPs. It might be our own stuff. Our own stuff that we're trying to figure out if it works like the alien stuff that we recovered. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Does this make it hard for y'all to trust them? Does it? The secrecy, the lies, the deceit, or are these conspiracy theories thrown out there to throw our scent off the trail? That's another question we have to constantly ask ourselves.
That shows that when Nikola Tesla died, that this...
Whoa. Gotta give context before we watch the video. It says, Dr. Stephen Greer testifies under oath to Congress about the free energy, anti-gravity, and extraterrestrial cover-up. Now let's go. I had to give y'all context first before we dive into it.
That shows that when Nikola Tesla died, that this information that he had, which allowed for a car to run out of the ambient energy, was in documents confiscated by the FBI. And I have a Department of Defense document demanding that the FBI turn these over to the DOD. The FBI refused. At any rate, science continues because the laws of the universe are in fact universal, and they can be discovered here or around Alpha Centauri or any place else in the cosmos. By 1928 and 29, T. Townsend Brown, as well as the Koloski-Frost experiment in physics in Germany, had determined that VHV, very high voltage systems done in a certain resonant field, could result in so-called electromagnetic-gravitic effect, the lifter effect that has been described that you see in UFOs. They also can create what's called a space-time bubble around an object so that you can correct for 1G. This is how these objects are traveling at multiples of what any aerodynamic physics would describe, and can make right-hand turns without killing the occupants. Around this same time, there was, in the 1940s and the late 1930s, a number of UFO sightings. This included the so-called Foo Fighters. Yes, it's a famous rock group. However, the Foo Fighters took their name from the reports of these objects seen in the theater of World War II that were flying around our aircraft. We thought it was a secret weapon of the Nazis. The Nazis thought it was a secret weapon of ours. There is Jimmy Doolittle, the famous general. His nephew is a dear friend of mine, and he has testified that General Doolittle was sent by FDR over to the European theater in World War II, investigated the Foo Fighters, and came back and told Roosevelt, and I quote, "They are interplanetary vehicles." That shows that when
we're gonna have to look into not only Jeremy Corbell, but a little more of Stephen Greer as well. I didn't know he testified before Congress in a situation like that, exposing an extraterrestrial cover-up. I didn't know that. See, the more you dig, the more information you start to find. How our scent is on the trail. You know what I mean? But you know what this makes me think of? For the longest, I've been asking the question, a lot of other people have been asking the question, we've been trying to figure out, do we have the technology to travel at the speed of light? You know what I mean? To be able to get from one planet to the next planet to the next planet without taking multiple lifetimes to do so. Do we have that technology? So when you hear him saying we can create a space-time bubble or whatever type of bubble he stated that we can create, it makes me sit back and think, okay, these things travel at different rates of speed, these UFOs that we've seen. Now, do we know if that was top speed for them or that was low speed for them? If it was low speed, then that means they can go faster than that. Then maybe they have the abilities to move around in space to go from planet to planet, and they have the technology. And if we're saying that we have these things in our possession, then we have the technology to travel faster than the speed of light. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. We just trying to figure this stuff out. That's all we trying to do. Listen, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of these videos and the conversation had tonight. Stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone.